Hey, folks, here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Brian Blessing with Kenny White. We're glad to be with you folks at BangTheBook.com, and we're going to preview a big weekend for you. All-Star games behind us, Kenny, second half of the season. And out of the gate, I think a huge series for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who've been here before but usually fade in the second half, but they're going against Cincinnati. This is a big matchup in the Central Division.
You're right. The Pirates have a 4-game lead over the Reds, so it may be more important, you're right, to the Pirates because they were the team that faded last year.
You talk about this Pittsburgh team. They've been massive overachievers, and it's been a great story, but they can get off to a good start here. I think they've got a pretty healthy cushion for the wild card. I think they're in this for the long haul.
Yeah, well, we look at the teams in the division, the Reds, the Pirates, and the St. Louis Cardinals, probably the top team in the National League. Those three could all represent and be in the playoffs, and I think you're right. If Pittsburgh can get off to a hot start here, give themselves a big cushion for that wild card spot, will take all the pressure off this team.
By the way, things have changed. The Pirates with 5 players that performed in the All-Star game. All right, the first matchup, Liriano goes versus Leake. By the way, Reds minus a quarter for the series. Really good pitching matchup to start. Minus 20 cents on the Reds. Total on the game, 7.5. Liriano's 9-3 with a 2.0 ERA. And, Leake's done nothing wrong at 8-4.
No, they've both been tremendous. Amazing for Liriano. 12 starts. He has a decision in every start. 9-3 his team. If you back Liriano every start, you're plus 6 units this year. Got the great changeup, and Leake has great stuff on his side. His ERA, 2.69 on the year, been very dominating. So this should be a pitcher's duel.
Saturday's game, A.J. Burnett versus Latos. Reds minus $1.30, total 7.5. Second start for Burnett off the DL. And you said if you've been backing the Bucks and Burnett, you've been losing dough.
Yeah, you really have. A.J. Burnett this year, the team is 7-9 in 16 starts, minus 5 units. And A.J. Burnett has been a far better pitcher at home than he has on the road in the last 2 years. Watch that. That may be a turning point in this series. Plus, he got banged around by the Reds a little bit earlier this year.
Homer Bailey's $1.20 on Sunday with a total of 7.5. He's going against Jeff Locke. Bailey, a no-hitter, 2 games back, but his last 2 games, he's gotten pounded, 20 hits and 8 runs in those outings. But Locke has been away from the bump for 13 days. What's that worth to the wagering line?
We have a lot going on in this game. You're right. Jeff Locke being off. I usually take off 10% of a pitcher's rating when they've been off more than 10 days. He's been off 13. So in this case, it's worth about 15 cents off of Locke's rating. I think this game would be a pick-em matchup if Locke was on his normal day's rest.
And don't forget, as we go to the weekend, you've got the British Open, the 3rd major over at Muirfield. The weather's been great. These greens are running out. They're lightning fast. Wind doesn't look like it's going to be an issue. But from a wagering perspective, the unique aspect of the majors, Kenny, so many more offerings that are available to you, be it matchups or even fluid odds to win the event.
Yeah, and I know you'd really love that, being able to watch a golfer play a couple days and seeing their current form and taking that into the weekend. So, yeah, that's a big deal, and I think it's very exciting to be able to bet that day to day.
And I'll be yawning for the entire week next week as it tees off at like 1 a.m. Vegas time. I really love it. It's going to be great. You'll have fun with that over the weekend, the British Open. Then we go to the get-out event of the weekend. That's pretty good. Yankees Red Sox anytime, and it's on Sunday Night Baseball.
One of the best rivalries in Major League Baseball, and these two are getting after it. The Red Sox having a tremendous season.
Sabathia goes versus Lester. Red Sox $1.35 in this spot. 8.5 is the total. Yankees really have struggled against left-handed pitching this year.
Boy, the Yankees are number 14 in the American League versus lefties, but it makes sense because they've been dealing with a patchwork lineup the entire year. They're .075 OPS points below the league average, so way below average. But hopefully they can get Jeter and A-Rod back, 2 right-handed bats, to hit against those lefties.
And numbers for Sabathia we're not accustomed to seeing. 9-8 with a 4.07 ERA. He's lost 3 of his last 4.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Sabathia has lost velocity on his fastball, down from 93 to 91 this year. So he's really had to try to pitch more than anything. But still, CC usually about 50 cents to 60 cents better than the average Major League pitcher. This year, 25 cents. So he's still better than the average Major League guy, but just not as dominating.
Lester gave up 3 runs in 6 1/3 innings in his last start. And that's like his best outing in a long time. He's been getting hammered.
And that was still a below-average Major League outing for Lester. You're right. He started out on a house on fire. He had a great spring, started out April, one of the most dominating pitchers in the game, about 60 cents better than the average guy. But since that point, John Lester is now 15 to 20 cents below average major league pitcher.
And it has been a decidedly different head-to-head series this year as opposed to last year.
Well, has it ever? And that's the difference in the series, the Red Sox lineup. Last year, the Yankees were 13-5 in this series, and a bad Red Sox team. But this year, the two series, both in the Bronx, the Red Sox have gone down and taken 2 out of 3 in both of those series.
It's going to be a busy weekend. Great information from Kenny White. I'm Brian Blessing. We'll be back with you again next weekend right here at BangTheBook.com.